Hello and welcome to another video. I'm outside doing my voiceover today, so you may hear some birds and dog licking water. But we're making pizza. We make pizza every Friday night here at my house, and I've just perfected this dough now. Like many people right now, we have avoided going out, especially to dinner, because everything has gotten more expensive. But this will make you feel like you have restaurant pizza dough at home, okay? So this is the recipe that I use. It does make 4 pizzas that are pretty good size, and they are freezable, but I'm gonna cut mine in half today. First, I'm gonna gather all my ingredients up. So we're just gonna need some flour and some salt. It doesn't have to be any particular flour. I just use all-purpose. You can use a dough or bread flour, that would be fine. Also gonna use some instant yeast here. I keep mine in the freezer so I don't have to worry about it going bad. And I've also got some Italian seasoning and garlic powder, and you can either season yours or leave it just the salt, or you can change it up and use some rosemary and thyme or something. But along with that, we're also gonna need some water. If you only have active dry yeast and you don't have instant yeast, you're gonna wanna make sure your water's a little bit warm. But here I'm just adding in 2 cups of flour, because remember, I'm doing a half recipe. Add in a teaspoon of salt here. I'm just eyeballing it. And for me, I'm also gonna add in a teaspoon of Italian seasoning and about a teaspoon of garlic. Like I said, you can change all these seasonings around to your taste. It is up to you. But after that, I'm gonna add in my yeast. I do have an instant yeast here, so I'm just gonna add that in and then give this all a good mix. After it's nice and mixed, we're gonna add in our water and just mix this up with the spatula, but we are making a dough ball. We're gonna mix this as much as we can, and then we're gonna get our hands a little dirty, okay? So you gotta get in there and make sure all the flour's incorporated. I think pizza is our very favorite thing in this house. We have pizza every Friday night, and I do mix up the toppings and I mix up the sauce. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that. Today we're just gonna be using a marinara, but lately I've been making a Parmesan cream sauce, and you make it much like a gravy, it's just delicious. But I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. So we've got our dough ball here, nice and incorporated, and now we're gonna let it rest. And it does rest better if you pat it before you put it to sleep now. I've just got some saran wrap, and I'm gonna put a little plastic wrap over it and then put it in a warm space. For me, that's on top of my oven, because that's furthest away from the air conditioner. But we're just gonna let that rest. When we're making it same day, I just do it in the morning and then just let it rest. You don't have to let it rest that long. I think this particular one, I forgot to even do it, so I started at like 2 or 3. But we're gonna leave it there until it doubles in size, usually for a couple hours, maybe an hour or 2, you know. And now we're just going to add in some flour. Now I've switched from adding flour, now I add cornmeal underneath, you know, to get that crispy crust. But that's what we're showing here. It works either way, but if you want like a restaurant style, you'll add a little cornmeal. I filmed this about 3 weeks ago, so I've had 3 more tries at doing this, and we've changed a few things. But I'm just cutting this in half, so we have 2 pizzas. Remember, if you're doing the full recipe, you will have 4 of these. And we're just incorporating more flour until it's not sticky, and then we're gonna make pucks out of this. And this is the part where we're making the bubbles. You know how restaurant style pizzas, sometimes they have bubbles in the crust, and it's just delicious. So that's what's gonna do here after we do the second rise. So we're just making pucks out of these, and then we're gonna cover them and leave them for about 30 minutes, maybe an hour if you want, but 30 minutes is just fine. It's always worked for me that way, unless it's super, super cold in the wintertime. So when I leave them, they are fluffier and larger than they were before, and I'm just going to split them out on 2 separate pieces of parchment paper. You can use foil for these if you don't have parchment paper. That's just fine. I usually just spray it with a little olive oil and then put some cornmeal down on top. And I have also found that hand stretching, hand tossing is a lot better than rolling it out. You'll see why in just a minute, but if you want those individual pockets, like the individual bubbles, you don't want to roll it out. My whole thing bubbled up. But lately I've been hand tossing and we're getting perfect like pizza crust, okay? So I recommend the hand tossing instead. And if it is sticking, that is just fine, because what we're gonna do is put it in a 400-degree oven for about 7 minutes and halfway cook it, and then it'll peel off of your foil or parchment paper. But now we're just going to top it. So like I said, I've got marinara today, but my Parmesan cream sauce, you just put a little bit of butter into a pan, and we're just gonna melt that down, add in a little bit of flour, and then we're gonna start adding a little milk to it to get the thickness that you want. And then we're gonna throw in some Parmesan and some garlic, and it is so delicious. I can't even tell you. I also add a pinch of Tony's or red pepper flake if I have it. And it's just so good on pizza. Like that's all we're using now. I also now add garlic butter to the crust because it's a lot more appealing. You'll see mine looks a little dry in this video, but if you add some garlic butter, just melted butter, throw in some garlic powder and salt to the crust, not only does it taste better, but it looks much better. But this was the kids' pizza. We just got a bacon pizza for Audrey and pepperoni for Ollie. And then for us, I just did a mushroom and pepper and pepperoni. Mushroom, bell pepper, and pepperoni, and it was so good. But I hope you try this out and let me know if you do. I can't wait to chat with you in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.